lot of times on a coaster, the thing that sticks with you from the ride is what you most recently experienced. What you ended the ride out like. Was it strong or was it weak? Sometimes looking forward to a point in the ride at the end leaves you excited throughout the whole ride because you know what's to come. Well, today we're going to be looking at my top 10 favorite roller coaster finales and counting them down. It's a very tough list to make out of the 230 coasters I've ridden, but we're going to get after it. But first, here's 5 honorable mentions. Now let's get into the top 10. Number 10 is Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags America. I'm very familiar with this having a mirrored image of this at my home park, but it was just so much better, not even close. The 3 hills at the end are insane. Not even the best part of the ride, but wow. You fly into these hills with so much speed. It gives strong ejector airtime, and you'll go flying into the lap bar at the end. It could be painful, but it's honestly pretty crazy. It's just how much speed you have. This ride is paced so well compared to Darien Lake's Ride of Steel. I'll be very happy to get back on this thing whenever I do that. I prefer this coaster to Fury and I-305, as crazy as it sounds, and this is one of the reasons for that. Number 9 is Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens, Tampa. What I consider the best roller coaster I've ever ridden, Iron Gwazi has without a doubt one of the best layouts of all time, and most of that is not because of the finale. However, the finale is very good. It consists of a step up, a double down, and another drop down into the brakes. You'll get a sweet near miss on this final hill. These hills are pretty strong, aside from the first of the double down, but that's not a huge deal. It's 3 really strong airtime moments, just nice, good old RMC ejector. It's really the only part of the ride that doesn't feel unique for an RMC, but what it does is good, so I'm not the one to complain about that. Number 8 is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. This ride has the most airtime out of any coaster on Earth. It's just airtime hill after airtime hill. And what a better way to spend the final moments in Steel Vengeance, going through 6 airtime hills in a row. 5 of them give really good ejector airtime. There's one of them that doesn't do much because it's just so small. But this is an awesome element. One of the best parts of Steve. I'd say these hills aren't as strong as the ones at the end of Iron Gwazi, but they're strong enough to have me prefer them for just having 6 hills instead of 3. Number 7 is Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This coaster starts off with a bang and ends up slowing down a lot in the middle of the ride. This really hurts the ride, but then comes in the finale. You'll dive off the cliff after the slowest part of the ride. You'll turn left into the cliff where you'll end up turning right into the brakes, and there is a nice pop of laterals going into these final brakes. This almost seems like it's trying to show you that it was just trolling by slowing down in the middle, like, you didn't like that? Okay, well how about this? And then it throws you off with some awesome ejector airtime. I really can't wait to get back here next year, because I feel that I'd appreciate it even more. Number 6 is Orion at Kings Island. The finale is great because of one reason and one reason only. The off-axis hill right before the final brake run. That element is like Flowjector, but ejector at the same time. You get some weird lateral forces at the same time, and with good room, you'll slide around in your seat a whole lot on this element. I don't hear this element talked about enough, but honestly, it's my favorite part of Orion, and there's a few awesome elements to choose from. It's one of the reasons this is my favorite gig coaster, and I've ridden every gig in North America. Number 5 is Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point. None of these hills are more enjoyable than the final one on Orion, but there's a ton of airtime hills back to back that provide incredible ejector. I do think they can be overrated. Lots of people overrate this ride. However, in row 3, this does have something about it. The airtime is ridiculous. That's no myth. It actually hurts pretty bad in row 3. It's like the Skyrush effect. It's so good that it hurts. But yeah, it's still overrated. It's blown out of proportion in every row except for the Magic Seat, row 3. But there's also just something about these hills that I love. Riding along Lake Erie, going up and down through Triangle Hills is amazing. And even though I think the hill before the turnaround is the best true element, these collection of hills make for one of the best sequences and one of the best finales. Number 4 is the Beast at Kings Island. This ride ends off with a bang. Literally, you get banged so hard into the side of the train. You start off turning left where you'll drop off the second lift hill, and it goes down and it's pretty slow to start. But then the brakes stop holding it completely and you're in for one crazy finale. You'll get violently yanked to the right. You go through a tunnel where you turn to the left. It's the greatest moment for laterals I've experienced, especially looking to the right. It's kind of trippy what you can see, probably because that's the only thing you can see, at least speaking at night. During the day, it's good, but man, at night, it's really, really good. And something I need to mention that's really cool is sometimes another train will be going down the first drop as you hit the final brakes, and it makes for a very cool visual, especially at night with the cameras flashing. It's pretty awesome when that happens. Number 3 is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure at Universal Islands of Adventure. This probably isn't a very popular choice for one of the best finales on a coaster, but it's one of the most fun sequences. For me, it makes the ride. The finale has the best 2 moments on the ride for me. You'll go down the drop track, which is awesome, never gets old. Then you'll get shot outside with a nice fire effect, and this final launch is amazing. It's the grand finale, the moment you've all been waiting for. And right after the drop track, it's the perfect element. It's actually pretty forceful for this ride. And then you'll turn left before turning right again, which is a very fun element, I must say. And then you turn into the final brakes. Absolutely incredible. It leaves a huge smile on my face every time. Hagrid's, man, it really was incredible this time around. I mean, it makes my top 20 super underrated among enthusiasts. I understand why, but it's just a me thing. Number 2 is Velocicoaster at Universal Islands of Adventure. So, we're staying in the same park. Great finales at that park. The finale for this ride is super unique. You start with a pop of airtime that isn't too special. Then comes the Mosasaurus roll, and this is the greatest inversion I've experienced. Inverted ejector, I've talked about it plenty. Then comes to 2 pops of airtime, stepping up into the final brake run. The sequencing is outstanding. This was the perfect way to end off Velocicoaster to me. If this final section didn't exist, Velo wouldn't rank top 10 for me, maybe even lower, I'm not sure, but it does, so I'm happy. And the number 1 finale on a coaster I've experienced is Lightning Rod at Dollywood. The quad down is heaven. Not my favorite element on the ride, which is why L Ride is so amazing. But man, this is such a rush, and really, it's about 6 airtime hills in a row before heading into the half loop, which is really an overbank where you'll then rise up into a final pop into the brakes. This is airtime heaven, and that head chopper is wild. One of the best I've experienced. I'm sure this is a pretty popular choice, but it's true how amazing the finale on L-Ride is. Wood track, steel, it's still L-Ride. It's still amazing. It's still the best finale on a roller coaster I've ridden. And that's going to wrap up this video. My top 2 shouldn't come as much of a surprise. They're pretty popular choices for favorite finales, and I've said my favorite finale of all time would be the quad down into the Mosasaurus roll. If a coaster had that, it would be game over. Maybe a drop track into a launch, into a quad down, into the Mosasaurus roll, before heading into Mystery Mine's dive loop into the brakes. Maybe I'm getting a little carried away, but yeah, that's all I have for y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'd appreciate it if y'all shared the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later.